Today, LeBron James had a very important announcement to make. A lot of people thought that he was going to announce finally that he was retiring, but I was very skeptical of that last night that he was going to retire. I remember hearing from Dreamers Pro, who's one of the big YouTubers when it comes to basketball, hyping this up, and I thought it was funny because he was on cloud nine saying like LeBron's going to definitely retire. He's not trolling. This is legit. He's going to announce it tomorrow. It's probably going to be his final season. All this other stuff, but I was just very skeptical of this. There was just a few clues about this that I just couldn't ignore, and I really thought it was going to be a troll job. I really did. But decide to say Dreamers Pro comes across as an idiot, and he has egg on his face. I can't say I feel bad for him because I've never liked Dreamers Pro. And I say this as a guy who does not like LeBron James, but I thought Dreamers Pro was pretty stupid for being overconfident and assuming LeBron was going to retire. He was just on cloud nine. He was hyped and he was assuming that this was going to be a retirement. He was saying like, no, I just can't believe he would make such a big announcement like this and troll people. It's not possible. I want to say Dreamers Pro. What are you, stupid? LeBron is a narcissist. He's a selfish person. Narcissists are not mature. They're always going to do stuff like this. This is who they are. Their personality is not about being a mature person. It's about being selfish and trying to get as much attention as possible at all costs. That's how a narcissist operates. So this is a textbook narcissist type of activity that LeBron displayed today. Nothing more, nothing less. But just going back to why I didn't suspect he was going to retire. Well, a few things. I remember yesterday talking about this rumor with my brother, my younger brother, and he brought up how LeBron has some deal with like Amazon Prime, and today was going to be Amazon Prime discount day. And we both started thinking like, this is probably what LeBron's going to announce, just his deal with Amazon Prime, since it's going to be Amazon Prime discount day. Granted, we got that one wrong, but it still turned out to be some endorsement deal that he was going to announce. Granted, it was Hennessy and not Amazon, but we were very close in that regard. But the other thing we discussed was that if LeBron was really going to retire, it would be leaked out by one of his butt boys, whether it's Shams, who's actually on his payroll from what I've heard. He's somehow linked to Clutch Sports, or Brian Windhorst. We know Wendy would be in tears if LeBron was going to retire. He would be emotional about it. He would release it the day before to prepare people for it. And LeBron would want people to know the day before for the dramatic buildup. Windhorst would be in tears talking about it. And we didn't get any response from Windhorst. Nothing at all about LeBron's possible retirement before this decision. I just don't think Windhorst could keep in the tears. He's been LeBron's cuck for years. I just don't see this guy not having a emotional breakdown if LeBron actually does retire. He would be just crying a river, a flood, for God's sakes. The other guy I think who would have an emotional breakdown who's on LeBron's payroll if he retires is Nick Wright. That guy loves LeBron even more than Savannah loves LeBron. That's how much in love he is with him. So I think he would have had a meltdown. We talked about that. And none of those guys were talking about this decision prior to it being made with any sources of his retirement. They were all calm. So I think it was safe to say this is a troll job. When LeBron retires, Windhorst is going to be crying. Shams would leak this shit out before he makes the announcement. And Nick Wright would also be in tears before the announcement. They would all know ahead of time he's retiring. That's what you guys should look for in the future if you suspect LeBron's going to make an announcement from retiring. Those guys are like LeBron's parents. They will definitely let you know and let the whole entire world know of this. So I think that's something in the future all you guys should pay attention to. And like I said, none of those guys leaked it. So that's one thing I would point out. But when it comes to LeBron retiring, this man is a narcissist, And I think, unfortunately, I'd say it's unfortunately, I don't see him retiring anytime soon because for a narcissist, they need that attention. That's like oxygen for them. They can't live without it. Grant LeBron can get attention without playing, but he's at the height of his powers from an influential point by being a player. This is like the most impact influence he's ever going to have in his whole entire life. I know some of you guys are going to say, like, well, LeBron's a billionaire, he's rich, and he's going to continue to make money, blah, 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 and he's going to get even more richer once he retires. Yeah, that's true. I'm not going to dispute that. Excuse me. I'm not going to dispute it at all. But LeBron will never be more influential from a cultural aspect, from a media aspect, when he's retired versus being a player. He's going to have the most influence as a player in regards to cultural and media impact. It will never be higher than when he's a player versus being retired. One example I can give you of this is Michael Jordan. 30 years ago, Michael Jordan was the most influential person in society. I'm going to go that far. In society, outside maybe the president of the United States. That's how influential Michael Jordan's impact was. He was on TV 24/7 every day in commercials nonstop. Like during that era, you could turn on the TV and you would see Michael Jordan commercials. Like they wouldn't, it was impossible not to go even a minute without seeing a Jordan commercial. That's how much he was on TV, plus the games, plus Sports Center, plus the news, plus local news, just 24/7. Like it was nonstop coverage of Michael Jordan every single day. And you don't get that today, obviously, for rightful reasons. He's retired. He's not a player anymore. And Michael Jordan, I would say, is much, much more wealthier today than he was 30 years ago. But he doesn't have the same influence as he once did. And that's normal. And I'm sure he's adjusted to that, at least not having the influential part anymore. The part he misses, obviously, is playing basketball. So that's what lies ahead for LeBron once he's retired. He's not going to have as much power and influence as he once did. He'll try to get attention. I think he'll be annoying in the equivalent of like what Shaq is annoying today. He'll say stupid things to get attention. He'll try his hardest, but he'll never get more attention than he's getting today once he's retired. So that's something to think about LeBron. This guy, like I said, is a narcissist. The other thing I'll say about him is, unfortunately, because the way the NBA rules are, I think this guy can play for the next several years. He could possibly play out this whole entire decade, which sucks. For him to stop playing, I think a few things are going to happen. He's going to have to not be able to average at least 20 points a game, because as long as he's scoring 20 or more, he can still get hype from the media. They can still say he's a great player. He can still inflate his value, get into some all-star games simply because he's still scoring 20 or more on his legacy. That's what he can use that, and he will abuse it. That's just being honest. So he has to start scoring less than 20, and then people will start saying he's declining, he's washed, and it'll be tough for him to deal with. I don't know how we can stop him from being a 20-point scorer, to be honest, because the NBA is so watered down when it comes to defenses and what they can do. This guy can pad like a motherfucker and just pad his way to getting 20 or more points a game. Even if his team is losing, ESPN, the media doesn't care as long as he gets his numbers. So that's the biggest issue. I don't know how you slow him down with these current bullshit rules that he can still be a 20-point scorer. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. So either that's going to have to happen where he can no longer score 20 or more points a game, or he's going to have to get a major injury like an ACL tear or Achilles tendon tear. I think if he gets one of those two injuries, he's done. It's officially over. That one is a possibility, probably a higher possibility than him being held under 20, because the rules are so in favor of scorers today. So I think this guy's going to play until he gets a major injury. Will it happen? Yeah, I think eventually. I just don't think you can escape it. The more you play, the more you put yourself at risk. It's hard for me to imagine he'll escape it for the rest of his life without injury. But this guy, LeBron, makes me think of like all the people who are in power in Congress. I look at people in Congress who are like 80 years old, and I think there was like some 90-year-old senator from like California. I forget her name. I think her name was like Barbara Feinstein, but this woman would not leave the Senate until she actually died, literally died at like 90 some years old. And only then were they able to replace her. So he reminds you of those Congress people. Like they want to be there forever. They literally want to keep doing their job until they die. And I think LeBron has the same mentality when it comes to basketball. And it sucks because I do want him to go away. I find it annoying he's still here, but I think that's the reality we have to deal with. And he's going to be here until his body just gives out. That's my theory about it, that he's not going to stop because he knows that the moment he retires is the moment his influence goes down the toilet, yeah, in the sense that he's never going to have that media or cultural influence again once he retires. So he's going to stretch this as long as he can. That's the way I look at it. But I think what we all should do right now is not give in to his trolling. Don't overreact to it because this is what he wants. He's a narcissist. Narcissists get up on their haters getting upset, getting angry, getting frustrated. Pay him no mind. That's what I would say. I know it's hard to do, but you guys got to tune him out in that regard. Only take him seriously when his team is winning, or whenever they're threatening the playoffs. But outside of that, don't pay this guy any mind. That's what he lives off of. He needs that attention. He needs that oxygen. That's what I would tell anybody. And I just say for guys like Dreamers Pro who actually thought he wasn't trolling yesterday because they thought that would be immature. I just say that again. LeBron is fucking immature. Expect immaturity from this clown. That's what he is. He's an immature guy. He's always been immature. So that's not going to change regardless of his age. Like this guy's like 40 years old now. Like it doesn't matter. He's going to turn 41 and he has the maturity level of like a 12-year-old. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say. And that's it.